Hi everyone, my name is Navitz, Dota 2 streamer, twitch.tv/Navitz, and now a content creator. Today I'm going to explain how to improve your map awareness in Dota 2 using good camera positioning. The first thing we need to consider is what we have for screen real estate and start thinking about what information on the screen is important. If you watch any high-level player, they rarely keep their camera position on the center of their hero. Instead, they usually keep their hero on the edge of the screen with the camera positioned to give them the most information available. You find yourself constantly getting ganked? Maybe your teammates aren't the one who's dog shit at the game, and you could have avoided a lot of deaths with better camera positioning. Now, a lot of you are going to say, but Navitz, there's a mini-map. Fuck you, mini-map. There's so much going on in the game, and when you're super hyper-focused on last hitting, it's easy to miss a split-second glimpse of a hero on a mini-map. Now we're going to take a second to watch this Pugna and see how he keeps his map positioned with his hero in the edge at almost all times, giving himself as much information as possible. And even right now, he has a bunch of free real estate behind him. Notice behind him, he's just keeping his map position centered because he's TPing into a battle. But now he has his camera positioned on the fight and not centered on his hero. So he has all of this real estate up here for the fight available to him, and his hero is not centered in the map. Obviously, the fight's over right now, and it's not as important, but this is what this Pugna has been doing. He consistently keeps his hero on the edge of the screen, giving himself the information available for what's about to happen in front of him. He's also constantly checking other parts of the map when there's team fights going on. So instead of staying hyper focused on something that's not really important, like he knows he's not going to miss all of these last hits here. They're not even incredibly important. Like, they are incredibly important, but having information about the game, maybe getting there to save your teammate or realizing a split second sooner that you need to teleport, that might be a lot more important than 1 second of than an extra CS. Sorry. So look at his camera position. He keeps, I want to go back 10 seconds right there because that was really important. Did you see what he did? So he puts himself, this is a position where he knows he just came from the top lane. He just came from up here. He sees some heroes on the map. He's got some map awareness, but he knows he's not 100% out of the woodworks, and it's good practice to make sure that your hero has as much information as he can obtain. So we go back to his player perspective. Look how much information he gathers. All of the information above him, this is useless. He doesn't care what's going on here. So he doesn't focus on the center of his hero. This is where your map would be positioned if you were focused on the center of your hero. He keeps his hero on the outside of his screen, panned all the way to the edge, gaining all the information that's available down here. I'd even argue that maybe putting it like this would be a little bit better, but you know, I'm not gonna get on him for a quick 1 second mistake that he made. Okay, so now you guys know the concept of keeping your hero on the edges of the screen as often as possible to gain as much information as possible. But how do you keep your hero on the edge of the screen mechanically? What hotkey settings do we use, and what other things are useful in our settings that could help us improve this? Now, a lot of people use edge panning. They take their mouse and they go to the edge of the screen like this, and that's how they set their camera positioning. So you have a hotkey that centers your hero, and you have and then you can move your mouse to different positions. The one that you want to set, and for those of you who aren't using this, you want to use camera grip. Camera grip is very important, and I highly suggest this if you're not using it yet. I have mine, and most people have their camera grips set to a mouse functionality because your camera positioning is usually done with your mouse. You can set this to a different hotkey, but then you have to use two hands to set up you have to use your left hand to press the hotkey and your right hand to move with your mouse. So why not just use one hand and get it all done with at once? So this allows you to move the actual world around the camera. So what does that mean? It means that if I press my mouse button like this, I'm going to press it. You see how the map moves with my mouse? Like where my mouse is, I'm moving my mouse to the left, and the whole world is moving to give me a position around, or vision around my Luna right now. So first and foremost, get your hotkey for camera positioning set, practice it, and start getting used to using camera positioning to give yourself more information. Setting up over here, if I'm playing in this lane, if I center myself mid, I have all this information back here that's kind of wasted. I don't need any of this up here. Like, this is all information that doesn't matter. So I can take my grip, move it, and play around this camera view. So I have it set up like this, and I can move wherever I need around the map. And then if I need to move back, I can always camera grip and move to a different place to get a different position on the map. And I can still edge pan as well at the same time. So camera grip is going to be the first thing. Second thing I want to talk about is the hotkey to select your hero. Now, this is the hotkey to, if you double tap this hotkey, it will reposition the camera over top of your hero. So let's talk about that real quick and why that's useful. Obviously, if you click over here to look at the mini map and you're like, shit, where's my hero? You don't want to drag back to your hero. You don't want to go, you don't want to be over here and have to go like this, find yourself, go like this. Double tap your hotkey and you're back on your hero. The other thing you can do when you double tap your hero focus hotkey, and this is good, some people use this for creep blocking, but you can double tap your hero focus hotkey and hold it, and it will keep your camera positioned around your hero. So if I hold it and start clicking, I do not need to do anything else. The camera's going to stay positioned around my hero unless I screen drag. As you guys saw right there, I screen dragged a tiny bit and it took my camera positioning, or it got rid of the hold I was pressing. So no longer is my I'm still pressing F1, but it's no longer being registered after I screen drag. I personally prefer to almost screen drag for everything. I almost never use this functionality, but for some people, they need this to creep block. Like, they can't creep block without this. I guess that's a personal preference. I don't know which one's actually better, but there's the option for you if you do so choose to use that. Two other things to make note of is that if you have units that are grouped in hotkeys, your hotkeys are right here, your control groups 1, 2, 3, 4. You have additionals on another page. Select all control units, and over here select all other unit types. These are all the same type of hotkey. If you double click on any of those, it will center the camera around that hotkey. So if I picked a hero, let's switch heroes here and go with someone who can summon some units. Where are we? Select a new hero, and we'll go with our boy Beastmaster because he's really popular right now. It's the only reason I thought of him, is because he's the most popular dang hero in the game. We'll level to max, and I'll just summon this boar. I'm going to put it in its own hotkey. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to press Control 2. And now, because you use Control and your hotkey modifier to set your control group. And now I can press F1 twice to center my hero. I can press F2 twice to center my boar. So this is really good if you're trying to get around different parts of the map. You can set your camera position here and then your camera position here really quickly, really easily, using just a hotkey instead of trying to manage where everything is internally in your head. That doesn't make sense, and it would be very, very difficult to do that. The reason I wanted to show you these hotkeys as well, I wanted to show you the select all controlled units and select all other units. I wanted to show those off is because if I press F2 twice, that's all of my units together. It will focus on my primary hero. But if I press F3 twice, it'll focus on this boar, because he's the only other unit that I have under my control right now. So I can get a Helm of the Dominator actually and control another unit really quick. Let's go take over this catapult before it dies. Catapult, be mine. All right, catapult's mine. Now, if I press F2 twice, centers on my hero, but my catapult's here. As you can see in my control group, both are here. If I press W, I'll select this. F2 twice, again, centers on my hero. Now, if I press F3 twice, I'm going to move them up here for a second. Recenter on my hero. F2 twice, again, centers my hero. F3 centers my control group. And then I can use camera grip to move them around and send them to different positions. So that's how you use the centering of that's how you use your hotkeys to center around your hero and your control groups. Back to our hotkeys, we're going to go over the camera options available for camera positioning inside of the settings, and we'll quickly describe what they mean and what they do. So edge pan is the ability to hit the edge and go to different parts of the screen. Reverse camera grip, if you try using camera grip for the first time and it feels weird, you can try reversing the grip. For some people, it feels more natural to have the grip reversed. I prefer to think of it as moving the map, but some people prefer to think of it as moving. I don't know how they think about it, to be honest, actually. Center camera on hero on respawn. Now, this is the worst auto the worst default setting in Dota 2, and the amount of times you will waste teleportation scrolls because this is set or because this is enabled is ridiculous. And for people who don't know that this setting exists, if you're new to the game, I'm so sorry they haven't turned this off by default. But you're looking at, like, what'll happen is you're looking at a team fight, you're waiting for your respawn, you're waiting to get in there, and then all of a sudden you respawn, you hit the TP button, but your camera repositioned on you and you end up TPing back to base. Disable this. Disabling camera zoom is a good idea because it honestly adds nothing to the game, and if you end up accidentally zooming in up or down, you will literally just hinder yourself in game. It doesn't add any value to you. Hold select hero to follow. I explained how you can do that with your camera positioning hotkey. So mine's F1. So if I press F1 and twice and hold it, it will do the job. Now on to the advanced hotkeys. Left click activates camera grip. I've never found this necessary, but you can play with it and try it. Enabling screen shake. So this is for like Axe's dunk and Echo Slam, I think, and then, you know, black hole and whatever huge effects there are. They will shake your screen, and you don't necessarily want that because it will distract you and make the game harder to play. Smooth draw camera when spectating. You guys can give that a shot. I don't need to explain exactly what that is. It's hard to explain, actually. While dragging the camera with the middle mouse button, it allows for smooth camera motion. It kind of makes it feel like the camera is just like whooshing around, and I don't know how to describe it other than whooshing around. It's a bad explanation, I know it is, but give it a shot if you're in spectator mode and you really want to see this. And then camera deceleration. This stops your camera from going a little bit past where you were. Like, it'll do like one of these things where it goes like this is where you want it to stop, and it's just like it hits the brakes and it's like brakes, and then it stops a tiny bit afterwards. Camera deceleration, you can turn this off pretty quick. And those would be the primary camera settings that I wanted to talk about. So that kind of concludes this video right now. I actually don't have anything else I want to get into at the moment. The only other point I wanted to make, which is pretty significant, is not focusing on your hero when your hero does not need to be focused. And this is for team fights and trying to get around the map. When your hero is walking somewhere, that's when you should have your camera positioned on the team fight you're going to, in the area that you're walking to, or clicking around the map and clicking on other heroes to gather as much information as you can about the game that's going on. The more information you have, the more you can do with it. You might not necessarily be able to do something with every piece of information you get, but it doesn't hurt to have that extra information, and you might find something like a small minuscule part of the game, something that you notice, something that you see that ends up changing the game and getting you a win. Like, let's say you noticed a Sven top lane because you were clicking there to see something else, and that piece of information made you aware that the fourth hero was top, so you knew not to go top and you decided to go bottom, and that was the one play that ended up winning you the game somehow. Obviously that's a little bit exaggerated and kind of crazy, but sometimes that stuff actually does happen. Those little differences are the differences in wins in high level games. So thank you guys for tuning into the video. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you guys would like to see more content, subscribe. If you like the video, like, and you can follow me on twitch.tv/Navitz. That's where I play myself if you're interested in some gameplay. I'd love to hear from you guys if you have any comments or suggestions below. And that's about it. I'll be back again with another video shortly. Thank you very much, guys.